Yes, sir, we're officially back at it. This is Boog Nice coming at you with the Marvel Legends Ultimate Riders Series Professor X and Hover Chair box set review. Let's do it.
This ain't for no scalper. You a scalper? Then fuck out shit. This one's for them real collectors. That's army building and posing figures. Marvel Legends, imports, mini matey, I'm fucking with them. Hype beast, we know about you. Stay buying figs, don't know about it.
And a real quick look at the back of the box. You can see a couple of pictures here of the figure, some of the compartments on the hover chair. Just like the back of the Deadpool box had a picture of Professor X, the back of Professor X box has a picture of Deadpool. And on the side, we've got some art there. Same thing on both sides as far as the art goes. And you can see Professor X and everything that's packed in there through the front of the clamshell. Let's get this guy open, see what's what. And just a real quick look at everything laid out from the package before I assemble the chair, which comes in two parts. Looks like his blanket, looks like the back, and I don't know what portion that is. Maybe that's the back. And that little piece which will allow you to make the hover chair hover. And then we also have the extra pack in for Shadow King's head. I'll give you a close look at that real quick. So you can see that, and that looks great. Obviously, you'll need the Kingpin Build-A-Figure in order to assemble your Shadow King. And here's Professor X and Cerebro, and let me get everything put together here. Alright, so that was very easy to assemble, no issues there. Only took a few moments, less than a minute maybe, to put that whole thing together, get him in there, get the blankie over his legs. And everything here is looking really good, man. This has been a long time coming. This is our very first Hasbro Marvel Legends Professor X figure, but only our second figure in the life of the line. The original Professor X figure was put out by Toybiz maybe almost 10 years ago. It may have been over 10 years ago. And if you are a younger collector, if you like 20, 21 or any younger than that, you may have never seen that figure in person or never owned that figure. So I'll definitely be breaking out the old Toybiz Professor X and seeing how he stacks up here against this new version. But I'm very happy with this. Straight out of the package, you know, I had a big smile on my face, and I think they did a really nice job here. The issues that I have here are consistent with the issues that I've had with other riders, and just the lack of some detail into Professor X's chair or his vehicle. And but aside from that, I think they did a really good job on this. And here's a quick look at the Cerebral Helmet, and to my delight, you can detach this effect from the back of the helmet. You do not have to keep that on there. So obviously you could use this effect for other characters that have psychic abilities, or use the effect for some other purpose. I hope that the toy community does not embarrass me and use this effect for anything unsavory. I've seen some really salacious comments about this this effect. So but yeah, the helmet looks pretty good. I'll see how it stacks up against the old Cerebro that we got. You know, not really any shading or anything here. I think this actually could have been more of a sort of like metallic, lighter silver. This is more gray than silver, really. But let's get it on him and see how it looks on his head. Alright, there's that. I think that looks pretty good. I'll get the effect on too. And there's that. That's not bad. I'm not mad at this effect. Maybe they could have... I see what they did here. They did put like some highlights on it. It looks like a sort of bluish highlight on the effect, but I don't know. Maybe it's just the shape of it that looks a little weird, but it is... it looks like it's taken out of the pages of the comic book. They were really trying to make this look as official as they possibly could. I will give them credit for a good attempt, but it does look a little weird. But I'm cool with it. I can work with it. I don't think it looks too bad. But taking a closer look at his actual hover chair here, like I said, it's just missing a little detailing, I think. But overall, I think it looks really good. It looks accurate. There's some compartments here on the side, which I'll open up in a second. And you don't have to use this stand. You can just take this off. I'll be using an A.C.B.A stand because it's thinner and it'll be easier to hide when I want to get him in some shots or what have you. But you don't have to use the stand at all. You can actually just rest it down like this. So no issues there. And that looks good. I'm really pleased with the look of this for sure. And don't be a savage like me trying to actually flip these panels up. You actually have to slide them outward in order to open up the panel and reveal what's underneath. Looks like a little computer monitor here on our left, his right, and the keypad and maybe the mouse, I guess, here on our right, his left. And you can see that it's a bright red sort of button there, and the screen is blue, and that looks good. I'm glad that they included that. I'm glad they went the extra mile with all of the little details and stuff here, like including his little cover or his little blanket. If I could get that out, that'd be nice. Oh yeah, there's a little blanket. It's just one solid piece that you stick in over his legs, but you don't have to use that. You know, the options here are great. And it was great that they didn't do a half-ass job with us and just give us a upper torso of Professor X, but they did actually give us the full body here. Obviously, it's a body that we've seen from Legends plenty of times. We all knew that they would end up using a buck that they've already been using in this suited body here. But they just gave us a different color scheme, the green suit. This is comic accurate. He definitely had on a green suit a couple of times in the comics during the Jim Lee days. And he's got the black and blue striped tie. Everything here looks pretty clean. Again, you know how this body is. It does have a few issues sometimes with a little paint bleed or what have you. But this looks good. And taking a close look at his face, which also looks pretty good. I don't have an issue here. Again, we will do some comparisons with the Toybiz version. And again, I do like the look of this. It does look like they were really trying to model Xavier after the comic look. His eyebrows look like they're on fleek. Looks like he's got his eyebrows done. And absolutely, you can pop off the head. So obviously you can change his suit by putting that head on other suited bodies. Focus camera. And you can remove the hands. So if you don't want these particular hands on here and you want something more relaxed, you have that option as well. I'll go through that shortly. But you know how the articulation is on here. I'll go over it really quickly. But shoulders can come up. You can do a full 360. You get a double jointed elbow. You get a swivel and a hinge on the wrist. You do get a decent ab crunch going forward and back, hindered a little bit by the jacket. T-joint at the pelvis. The leg will come up just about that far. Split looks like that. Upper thigh swivel, double jointed knee. You get a hinge and a pivot on the foot, and that's pretty much it. So obviously Professor X is not the most agile person, but you do get all of the basic articulation that you would want and deserve for their male characters. If you know me, you know my criteria for judging some of the newer Hasbro Marvel Legends is whether or not the character that Hasbro is doing has been done previously by Toybiz, and if the new Hasbro version is better than the original Toybiz version. There's no doubt in my mind that this Professor X is light years ahead of the Toybiz version. However, the old Toybiz version does have some things here that can be salvaged and utilized for this newer age of Marvel Legends and how they look aesthetically. Obviously, his chair can still be used because, ironically, the Toybiz figure is older, but they did a more modern take on Professor X, and this brand new Professor X is a 90s sort of Jim Lee look. But again, the buck that Toybiz used for Professor X is horrendous. Now, it's just, it's actually too much articulation. And then no articulation in the places where you really need it or wanted it. There's no ab crunch on him, but there is articulation all over this figure everywhere else for somebody who is paralyzed. So that was kind of weird, but let's get a close-up look at the two of these guys and these head sculpts. Again, like I said, the Hasbro version definitely looks like it has been lifted right off of the pages of a Jim Lee comic book, whereas this version, the Toybiz version, looks really soft and I don't know, just not as good. I will say that Toybiz did some pretty good paint work as far as giving him a nice flesh tone and putting some color in his face, and it looks like there's actually blood vessels in his face, and you know, that's good. That's one thing that Toybiz did really nicely. I gotta give them that. And it should be noted that the old Toybiz version had these two little peg holes in the back and two pegs on the chair, and you pegged them into the chair, which probably wasn't really necessary, but it did keep them on there if you wanted to, like, I don't know, I've done displays where I had this lifted up with a A.C.B.A flight stand and had like Magneto levitating the chair, so I guess to keep them on there, that was helpful. This particular buck was really strange. Even trying to get him to stand up, he just looked really strange. The way the arm stuck out to the side, you know, it's a really nasty looking, nasty looking body, man. But if you look, they are about the same height. Looks like the Toybiz version is actually just a tad bit taller. But yeah, look at that. That still holds up. You can definitely do a modern look for Professor X. Professor X has been through a lot in the comic books. He actually was walking some years back. He had regained the ability to walk, but then he had lost his psychic abilities. But obviously, if you want to put him on a more modern chair, you may want to update his suit and maybe swap this head onto a different suited body. So let's see how that looks. But this is the head on the Ross body from the Killmonger and Ross 2-pack, and it pops on there. The skin tones are a little different, so maybe you might want to take the hands off of here and put Professor X's hands on here. Wait, do these pop out? Let me see. Oh no, I'm bugging. The hands don't actually pop out on this particular version. So while they did make it where the hands pop out on Professor X's body, you would have to use some hands from some other figure, maybe Iron Fist or something like that. I'll see if I got some of those laying around real quick. But yeah, the skin tones don't absolutely match up, but it's not bad at all. It can still work. You can absolutely fudge it. But yeah, that's the Ross body. And there's the Chameleon body / J. Jonah Jameson / Tombstone, who we need a real body for at some point. And the head pops on there. No issues there. That looks good. I actually like this. And again, like I said, Professor X has been through a lot of different phases. He was running around with the Illuminati at some point. So you got some great options with these suited bodies. And here he is on the first suited body we got, which was Coulson. And that looks great too. This looks like a real modern take on Professor X. This head does not really pop on the peg, but it works. You know, you can still, I'm losing his head. You can still push that peg back a little bit and get him to look up. It's really no issue. It works fine. It sits on there fine. The proportions look decent. And obviously you can finesse that how you see fit. And you could obviously change up his suit and put him and still do an old school sort of look with him in the hover chair as well. Only thing is the hands on this on the intended body are pretty gold, man. I mean, they you know, the hands and faces make the figure, like I say oftentimes. So this sort of gesture with his hand, where he looks like he's utilizing his mental abilities, then you know, that's gold. You losing that on these other bodies kind of sucks, but it is what it is. You can figure out something. There's a lot of fodder to choose from in Marvel Legends for you to kit bash something and figure out something. But I'm glad that I still do have this old Toybiz version, and it's been it's been quite a few figures over the past like couple years where the older Toybiz version has still held some value. With what you can do with the accessories for the newer Hasbro figures. So we saw that with Doc Ock and a couple others that I can't think of right now, but I'm cool with this. And let me see what I have here as far as hands, what might be able to work. I think this might be an Iron Fist hand. That looks a little large, but it can work. Yeah, I think that's Iron Fist. All of those Iron Fist hand from the Iron Fist with the white suit, but they do pop right in there. So that does work. So all of those extra hands, if you still have that Iron Fist with the white outfit, you can definitely do some different things there. And putting his hand out flat is another cool thing. This could be used to hold something, I suppose. So yeah, you got some options with hands. It is cool that they made it where you can pop out the hands on here. That was a nice touch. Don't mind the pun, no pun intended. And I forgot to break out the old Cerebral, but there's the new Cerebral helmet on the old Professor X, and you can see, you know, his head is real tiny. He got the peanut head. But let me go find that other helmet. And I found it, and this one was really small. I didn't remember it being that small, but obviously it had to be smaller to fit this guy's head, being that he's got the peanut head. But I sort of like the color on the older one, but the design of the newer one is absolutely better. No question about that. This older one is definitely not going to fit on the newer Professor X's head, though. That's for sure. And while I was in my little bin, I found this too. And that reminds me that we need a great classic Magneto as well. So Hasbro, come on, make that happen. Man, Hasbro did a great job on this guy. I think this has been one of the most highly anticipated figures from collectors, and I don't think they disappointed here. There's a lot of playability. You know, Professor X's history runs really deep, and the fact that you can swap his head on other bodies and take him out of the hover chair, and if you have the old Toybiz version, that gives you even more options. 2019 is going to be a big year for X-Men. There's a lot of great X characters slated for release. Obviously, Beast, Gambit. Hopefully we'll get Lalandra and maybe some Shi'ar people to kind of even out some of the X-Men history with supporting characters and whatnot. But I'm really looking forward to completing our 90s Jim Lee X-Men. And it looks like we're going to learn a lot more about what's to come during Toy Fair next month. So I'm excited for that. Aside from my little minor gripes about paint detailing or the lack thereof, I think they did a really solid job. And I'm pretty happy with this guy. Like I mentioned in the Deadpool review, this figure is not quite out yet. I was able to get him a little early, but the official release date, I believe, is in March sometime. So just sit tight. Should be about $39.99 at retail, and it's worth every penny. I think they did a really, really good job on this guy. All right, so as always, rate, comment, and subscribe. Please leave comments. You know, I keep saying this. I think that anybody at the level that toy reviewers are at that's not interacting with their subscribers in the comments are doing their subscribers a disservice. So, you know, I'm definitely always going to try to chop it up with you guys. I'm not on no Hollywood shit where I can't respond to comments, you know. Toy channels should absolutely be responding to comments, so don't hesitate to leave a comment. Hit the bell down there, and until next time. Peace.
That's crispy.